Happy New Year and welcome to another edition of the program, Service to Humanity, your window into the activities of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, as well as our agencies as it carries out its mandate. The last quarter of 2022 was when the Humanitarian Ministry carried out the training of over 7,000 Nigerian youths under the End Skills and End Knowledge component of the Empower program. It was also during this period that the grant for vulnerable groups was flagged off. On this first episode of the new year, we shall review these two programs with a special emphasis on Niger and Kaduna States, bringing you testimonies of beneficiaries as well as highlights of events. I urge you to stay tuned as I bring you details from these states. Keep watching.
I tell you, anytime we're not producing, the fish farmers suffer. The people we engage suffer. The people we feed, that we give our fish heads to, they feel it. I'll only beg the government to continue with this and make it run more.
We used to have children crying, parents will be chasing them to come to school, and they will be at the gate, they will be crying, they will hold on to the plate, they will not want to come into the gate.
When they are not giving the food, the attendance was very low.
Now the children are always fit and healthy because of the food we eat.
To make them attend class every day.
I eat rice, plates and carrots.
I want to use this opportunity to thank the federal government for the feeding program.
Thanks for staying tuned. We begin the program with the Management Diary as we bring you news on the recent happenings in the Humanitarian Ministry as well as our agencies. On the news, Federal government commences verification of terrorist attack victims in Plateau. Stay tuned for details of that story and more.
The federal government has commenced a survey process to verify victims of terrorist attacks in Plateau State. The Humanitarian Minister, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, who was represented at the venue of the verification exercise by the Assistant Director, Special Duties of the Ministry, Mrs. Dina Tuwea, said, the survey, which is not limited to Plateau State alone, will establish the impact of any attack on the victim and what kind of intervention will best help them to cope in their current circumstance. This, she said, will aid the federal government in determining the appropriate intervention and response for victims of various attacks in Plateau and other states. Abdullahi Yusuf of the Northern Youths for Leadership and Governance, a non-governmental organization which participated in the exercise, commended the federal government for initiating the intervention plan. He urged the victims in the states to take the verification exercise seriously to enable them to benefit from the program in due course. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, recently received another batch of 266 stranded Nigerians from neighboring Niger Republic. Alhaji Mustafa Ahmed Habib, the Director General of NEMA, revealed this while welcoming the returnees at Kano's Malam Aminu Kano International Airport. The DG, who was represented by NEMA Coordinator, Kano Territorial Office, Dr. Nuruddin Abdullahi, said the returnees were brought back to Kano under the care of the International Organization for Migration from Niamey, capital of Niger Republic, through a voluntary repatriation program. The returnees included 144 adult males, 56 adult females and 66 children. They are from different parts of the country including Katsina, Kaduna, Bauchi, Sokoto and Kano states among others. According to the Director General, the returnees would receive a 4-day course on how to become self-sufficient as well as seed money to enable them to start profitable businesses and become independent. While enjoining the returnees to learn from their experiences and be law-abiding citizens, he advised the public to avoid endangering their lives by traveling to seek greener pastures in other countries.
Welcome back. The Grant for Vulnerable Groups, GVG, is aimed at sustaining the social inclusion agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, which seeks to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the year 2030. A couple of months back, the Humanitarian Minister, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, visited various states like Imo, Bayelsa, Bauchi, Zamfara, amongst many others, to flag off the GVG alongside other social intervention programs. Towards the end of the year 2022, Kaduna State joined the list of states to benefit from the GVG. Let's take the story of how the event went. Stay tuned.
Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has flagged off the disbursement of cash grants to vulnerable groups, GVG, and rolled out the interest-free loan program of Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP 2.0, to beneficiaries in Kaduna. Over 5,000 selected beneficiaries are to benefit from the 20,000 Naira cash grant, while 14,000 selected beneficiaries are to receive collateral-free loans of 50,000 Naira only under two components of the GEEP 2.0 program, namely trader money and market money. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, was represented by the Director General Services, Yakubu Austin John.
Our target in Kaduna State is to disburse the grant to 5,688 beneficiaries across the 23 local government areas in the state. It is worthy to note that 70% of these beneficiaries must be women, and I can see women all over, while the remaining 30% is for youths. Mr. President has further directed that at least 15% of the total number of beneficiaries must specifically be allocated to citizens with special needs, including persons with disability and senior citizens in the state.
According to Yakubu, the one-off cash grant program is an ongoing program across the 36 states of the Federation, which includes the Federal Capital Territory, and is targeted towards the poorest and most vulnerable Nigerians in rural and peri-urban areas. In her remarks, Kaduna State Focal Person, National Social Investment Programs and SIPs, Saude Amina Atoyebi, who was represented by the Program Manager, GEEP 2.0 Kaduna State, Hayat Lawal Aliyu, said since the establishment of these programs in 2017, it has served as a source of support for over 850,000 direct beneficiaries in Kaduna State.
These monies that are going to be given to you are not given to you for you to misuse, but rather they are given to you to go into petty trades, increase your business productivity, and so on and so forth. But once you use the money without having anything to show for it, don't forget, it is not a grant, it is a loan, which you pay back. You will have to pay back. So please, and please, for those that have seen their disbursements in their accounts, please, like my colleague said, use it judiciously.
Dignitaries present at the event also gave their goodwill messages. On separate remarks, one of such was Mrs. Jessica Bartholomew, Chairperson, Kaduna State Social Protection and Accountability Coalition.
We are starting from inside this room, ensuring that all of you that have been captured to have access to these monies, you are going to get it. So our work is to also complement the efforts of the government by ensuring transparency and accountability. muna cikin duk 23 LGA din muna duba duk aikin da ake yi akan social protection wanda ba su samu ba za mu giya musu mutanen mu fa da aka sara sunayensu ba su samu ba kuma a je a yi wani abu a kai. So yau ku san cewa kuna da masu taimake ku a magana ba wai kun zo haka kawai ba.
While presenting the 20,000 naira cash grant to the beneficiaries, the minister's representative urged the recipients to make judicious use of the money and also ensure that it serves the purpose for which it was meant. Aside the distribution of the Jeep 2.0 and cash grants for vulnerable groups, there was handing over of sensitization materials to the community mobilization officers in charge of compiling accurate statistics of beneficiaries. Instruments to measure height and weight were also presented for use of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. 70% of the beneficiaries were women. They lauded the initiative of the president.
I was really happy that I was called to come and collect this money since I was not expecting it. They called me this morning to receive it. I thank God and I thank our leaders, right from the federal government to state government up to the commissioner. May God reward them and may God bless the money we receive.
I really thank God and I really appreciate what God has done in my life today, because I didn't expect this money, but by the grace of God and what God has been doing upon our lives make me to see another wonderful day like this. And I want to appreciate the government because of what they have done today. May God help them and may God open way for them where there seems to be no way. I really appreciate them.
Some Jeep beneficiaries also spoke on the scheme.
The program is very interesting and it will empower the low average people of the nation towards this unconditional cash loan that they will receive. And definitely if they use it judiciously, it's going to work accordingly.
I'm very happy. The time I see the alert of the program, seriously I'm so happy. So I want to thank Almighty Allah for that I was being selected among the beneficiaries of this GVP loan program. Also, I would like to thank the President Muhammadu Buhari for his effort on this program. Also, the Minister of this Humanitarian Affairs, Sadiya Farouk. Also, I thank her too for her effort to see that all the beneficiaries were disbursed.
Ṣàǹfààní díẹ̀ lára mi nígbà tí mo fi kówó ọjà gan díẹ̀díẹ̀ tó le àrífi tọ́jà àmọ́ ìjẹun lásìkò wọn dẹ̀ lọ skul ètò tọ́gbé kalẹ̀ ẹ̀ náà wà òkè náà àmọ́ bọ́ iṣẹ́ iná kọ́ máa stop ẹ̀ o àkọ́yẹ́ ká máa jàǹfààní ẹ̀ lọ títí láéláé o ọlọ́wọ́n àwọn arántí ẹ̀yìn náà wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé èmi tẹ́ mo nídìí ẹ̀ jù torí bùkátà tí mò ń gbé pọ̀ bá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ pé wọ́n dúpẹ́ bọ́ iná wọn ò ní ṣíṣe wọn ò ní bàjẹ́ wọn tọ́nà bá dáwọ́lé àmàyọrí sí rere.
You are still watching Service to Humanity, a program that brings you activities of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, as well as its agencies as it carries out its mandate. The End Skills training across the country brought with it a new lease of life for young Nigerians, especially in the non-graduate category. Skills were given to beneficiaries in various areas which they can explore to become economically independent. In Niger State, Over 500 youths were trained in tailoring and auto mechanics. Let's have stories from that center. Keep watching.
With no supervision on myself yesterday, so I'm very happy to this program.
Justice Fatih Abubakar, Islamic and Legal Studies Center, Mina, in Niger State, hosted the end-skill beneficiaries of the North Central states of Niger, Kogi, Nasarawa, Plateau, Kwara, Benue, and the FCT. The over 500 youths were trained on tailoring and auto mechanics.
Now, this is a complete engine. And this.
When we arrived at the center, the beneficiaries were already 5 weeks gone in their training, and by then were already practicing what they had been taught. By the 5th week of their training, beneficiaries in the tailoring unit were already able to carry out clothes making assignments in groups, making presentations and also sharing ideas with their counterparts.
I cannot design, but I use bias for the neck to bring out a little beauty.
Master trainer of the center, Isa Ramat Attahiru, explained the curriculum of the training.
First of all, we started the program. We learned about the program first. Then when it comes to practical, because usually the program is in 3 stages. We have life skills, which to start there. Then after life skills, it's practicals. Then after practicals is entrepreneurship. Now we are on the practicals now. So after the life skill, everybody was in life skills, but when it comes to practical, we have to group everybody so that we see how much everyone have learned. Yeah.
Attahiru encourages the beneficiaries to make good use of the skills they are being taught, as it can only take them as far as they can make it to.
Every day before the program starts, I try to give them a motivation speech. You know, I always tell them, you know, you can be who you are. You can be anybody. You can be anybody you want to be. Sorry. You can be successful in whatever you do once you are focused. You are here for a reason. I always tell them that I know tailors who are billionaires today, who are millionaires today. You know, like the mechanics too. I told them that you can't. There's no way in Nigeria now you can travel for 30 kilometers without seeing a mechanic village. So I always tell them to focus. They should have a goal in life. They start today. They might not die as a mechanic, but at least they will learn. They should focus on what they are here for. Once they focus, they'll be successful.
Eleojo Salifu is a person living with disability, a mother of 5 who had no prior experience in tailoring but had passion for it. She shares with us her experience at the training.
Since I came here, almost 5 weeks now, I learned something. I have to measure, to cut, I get that one. I'm a professional now. I can use a thread and hand needle to sew. I even sew one for our practical carton to use pencil gown.
Eleojo believes that disability should not be a limitation to anyone. She shares that there is ability in disability.
Doesn't mean that you are disabled, you cannot do anything for yourself. I can do anything for myself. After all, I'm a businesswoman. I'm selling firewood and charcoal in my state. Now I'm versioning into tailoring. Glory be to God. That is a very good thing for my life. And I'm sure from here, I'll go to another place again and learn. So my tomorrow will be better, down to my children.
Moreover, we might get maybe 17.
Muhammad Suleiman had his first experience in tailoring during the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020. He shares with us why he chose to join the program and his experience at the training.
Tailoring is kind of a big industry and is a unique, fashionable world that you could think of. And I've also learned to tailoring is a global something that impacts people's life, because the way you might maybe sew or you see people sewing clothes different from various places, and I got to realize that for you to learn that, you have to be humble and you have to be open-mindedness and also trying to persevere those situations you find yourself in, because wherever you think you are facing right now, it's a seasoning, I mean it's a spice for you to maybe be somebody in the future.
So that you make the standing be very soft.
In the auto mechanic unit, the beneficiaries were also making group presentations on the internal and external parts of an engine and working mechanism of an engine.
We have a cylinder also in engine arranged in a W shape. And in this cylinder that's arranged in a...
Afterwards, the class was taken outside for a practical explanation and demonstration by one of the auto mechanic instructors.
Cylinder, top cylinder, this is the cylinder.
According to Engineer Shola Emmanuel, lead instructor of the auto mechanic unit, areas the training covered include safety, component of an engine, the gearbox system, among others. He speaks on the attitude of the beneficiaries towards the training.
I have a student here that told me that he never knew anything about mechanic aspect or auto mechanic. But when we started, he said he had an interest because it wasn't his field before. We have some that have been in the field already, but what they are able to learn today is another thing again. All right. Now, we make them to understand that the people that do mechanic, they were not illiterate. It is in those days, but now, whatever you want to do as a mechanic now, you have to be literate. You have to be educated. So that is first to encourage them.
13 plus 13. 26 plus 26. So that's how you call the rapper.
For some of the beneficiaries, this program is a golden opportunity. They also speak on their experiences and the training.
I'm a graduate. I have my SND certificate. Now I don't have any job to do. Now I decided, when I got this, I decided to come and learn so many things in mechanic, because we know in Nigeria, now we are looking for a job, different way. But federal government decided to bring so many teams, so many acquisitions. That is why I engaging myself to this auto mechanic, so that I can get more anything for me to sit down at home doing nothing. That is why I'm been here.
Seriously, our lecturers were doing so well. They've done so well, and they've given us the best they could on the practical part and also the theoretical part of the learning. So Alhamdulillah, I think I have what it takes now. With the help, with the support of this NCIP, inshallah, I think I can go back and become who I wanted to be before.
I learned so many things. I learned how to cut the clothes and sew, and I learned how to mingle with people. Yes, how to entertain customers, how to introduce yourself to other people so that they will come to your place and give you something to sew for them. Yes.
This is about and have two heads, one negative, one positive. This air filter. This is air filter. You draw air into the inlet.
With that, we come to the end of this episode of Service to Humanity. Join us same time next week and same station for more on the strides of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Until next week, have a happy new year.